Welcome to the Peer Effect Postbag. I'm James Johnson, joined by Freddie Birley. We ask for your questions, and Freddie and I are going to tackle them together. These aren't theoretical case studies, it's the stuff keeping you up at 2 a.m. Let's get answering. Welcome to the Peer Effect Postbag. I'm James Johnson.
And I'm Freddie Birley. So, how has your week been? What's been going on?
Well, I did a half marathon yesterday.
Oh, epic. That's amazing. How are you feeling?
A little bit sore.
Yeah, I bet. Oh my gosh. You're that quiet.
It was fun. Like it was interesting. Like I used to do a lot of running. I ran a lot when I was in my 20s. I ran so much I couldn't run then for about 6 years because I messed up my knees.
Oh, fair.
Turns out like most things, just blindly trying to grunt something out with bad technique is and you assume you know what you're doing and you don't. Then got back into my 30s a bit, did some longer stuff, and then did pretty much nothing for the last 4 years with a small child. But getting back into it and trying to really sort of focus on technique.
Oh, amazing. That's epic.
Yeah, it's good. It's also quite hard moving away from like I used to be able to do this, and actually just enjoying it for what it is and trying to find a new challenge.
Yeah.
And for me, that's been technique. Although I did it the weekend and did it with two friends, one of whom we all slightly tried to sandbag what times we thought we were going to get so we could try and win. And then one of the other guys smoked me, and I was like, I saw him.
Did he underplay it beforehand as well? Oh my gosh.
He was 7 minutes faster than the time he said he was going for.
You were like...
And I got halfway through and I saw him just pull away, and I was like, I'm just not going to be able to do this. I was like,
I need to let go of that.
It was a tough kilometre. I was like, should I chase him? Should I not? Should I go after him? I was like, this is just run your own race.
Yeah. And
enjoy it. It was really nice. It was really nice. But yeah.
Will you do it again?
Yes. Yeah. So I'm toying with the idea to see if I can beat my PB. Bear in mind, I did my PB probably like 15 years ago when I was younger, and your like VO2 max drops and a whole range of things happens.
Yeah.
But I reckon with focus technique and stuff, I'd be curious to see if I could beat it. So that's my new challenge. So I'm gonna think I might do another one in June as kind of like a tester, and then one in September, October when it's a bit cooler again, because June will be a bit hot, so you want to try and really push it. Although it was quite interesting because I was talking to someone in I chair a forum at Helm, and one of my group was talking about doing a marathon, and I think I know, having done all this research, I think I know quite a bit about it, and I was giving him all those helpful tips, and I thought, let me just check in, what time are you aiming for? And he's already running like significantly faster than I've ever run. So I was like, I'm just going to get back in my box. And
I would love tips from you.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Okay, nice. That's cool. That's exciting. I guess a nice connection to our question today. So, I mean, this is honestly a helpful question for lots of, probably every single person I work with. But Andrew's asked, what should I use a coach for?
So much. I suppose the way I look at this, I suppose, is threefold. Like one of which is what's the difference between like a coach, a mentor, and a therapist.
Yes.
That comes up a lot.
Yeah.
And then I see there kind of being like sort of a short-term and long-term benefit from a coach. And then I think there are some quite specific use cases. So maybe I kind of go through the three. So I think having any form of one-to-one support is super valuable. I think peer groups are valuable. They give you one thing. I think having a person dedicated to you in a safe space is super helpful. But I do think mentor, coach, and therapist are different. So the way I see it is mentor is someone who's kind of done it before and kind of like do it my way. It's kind of a sort of a I know more than you relationship. A coach is very much sort of forward-looking. We're kind of side by side. Here's how to bring out the best of you. Here's the future game plan. Acknowledging some past stuff, but like let's really focus on the future. And then a therapist is about digging out that trauma and a bit more backward looking and going, let's dive into X.
Yeah.
And a coach should be staying away from that stuff.
Yeah.
And I work with people that work with me and work with a therapist, because it can be a very useful combo.
Yeah.
And some people have all three.
Yeah.
I think having at least two I think is helpful, because you've got someone like the peer group I think is useful to get more practical what's happening now support. And I think either coach or therapist or both gives you that one-to-one space to really focus on you. So I suppose that's how I see that part. Then I think you can look at it from a session perspective. So I think just having a single coaching session is valuable, because it's almost like you get this time dilation effect where founders are so overwhelmed, they've got so much information coming in, they've got to make more decisions, they've got stuff like, just having an hour where you can reflect in a safe space and pause just leads to better decisions, better impact, and you're not kind of distracting your team or your investors with like your first thoughts. You kind of have a chance to put them through. So I think even a standalone session has so many benefits, but where it really compounds is where you have a long-term relationship, because you get to know each other. You can the context a lot better. You can you build a relationship so you can challenge more deeply. And because there's no power game going on, you can people really listen. I think it's a really lovely, unique relationship, coach and client. Like when I was a founder, I had a same coach for 6 years. Yeah. And I loved it. So I do think there's this kind of short-term and long-term sort of stuff going on. And then I think in specific use cases, you've got kind of the loneliness problem of founders. It is tough at the top. You are isolated. No one really understands. It's kind of, you've got a successful business, poor you. It's like they don't see the pressure or anything else. I think that's an issue. Sort of having an outside perspective, like as coaches, we get to see sort of the same patterns playing out hundreds of times over the years. And so actually to be able to share that helps people avoid mistakes sometimes. Yes. That's quite valuable. That kind of accountability without politics. So you're able to hold people to account without feeling like, your investors are going to get frustrated about your team or your co-founder. It's quite a gentle accountability, but it's very powerful. Yes. And sometimes people aren't willing to hold us to account either, because we can change the deadlines and people don't say anything. But as coaches, we know. A big one for me is that decision quality under pressure, because I often point this as kind of the single biggest ROI when you look at like short-term ROI. We've often been sitting on these big decisions like a key hire that's not worked out or something, like suddenly making that change a month earlier, 2 months earlier, there's a very clear financial saving there, but also there's the bigger business impact of that is significant. You play that out across 5, 10, 20 decisions over the course of a year, you can see how that benefit really compounds. Yes, completely. And then I think the final big one for me is that performance edge in terms of just the work you're doing improving yourself really does lead to better business performance, because your team experience it. They experience more consistent you, a more balanced you. And that benefit plays out into your personal life as well, which is important. And I found as we try to think, I'll sort that stuff out once I've exited. Yeah. But it probably helps you enjoy the journey. And so I think there's, I feel there's a lot of benefits.
No, of course. And I think you've made so many, there are so many different benefits, and for different people it serves them at different points in their life. And also I think what can be slightly confusing for people too is that coaching can be such a vague title, and like you say, with the difference between therapist, coach and mentor, especially some coaches kind of wear all three hats in some ways when they've built a company, and they're happy kind of diving into more trauma-informed style coaching, and they can kind of wear all three hats, and then other coaches don't. So I think even people who are exploring coaching, it is really important to get a sense of that coach's style and what they are used for and what they're not used for, because there's such a wide range of use cases.
But I think if you, to say you're a therapist, I think you should have gone through therapy training. Yeah. I think to be a coach, ideally you have actually gone through, people can label themselves a coach without having gone through the training. And it's as we both know, it's kind of 6 months, you're doing practical, you're assessed, you are really learning skills and not let out to deploy them before you know what you're doing. Yes. And we both go for 5. So by the time you get to this stage, we're that 6 months training plus 5 years experience, it's different. Yeah. So I think people can combine them, but I would certainly check whether people should be combining them.
Completely. And that's also up to the person sort of meeting them. And I always say to people that at the end of a kind of intro call, for me, I think the most important conditions are that they deeply trust the coach. They feel like they can, to get the maximal benefits out of the experience, you need to feel like you'll explore parts of yourself that maybe in other contexts of your life you don't feel safe to. And I think that's that tension as a leader or as a founder or as between like performance, because often in every context of their life, they're leading, and whether that's across their family, their team, their board, their investors, and so there's a performative element often where they're kind of holding or needing to instill confidence in everyone that they've got everything covered, all's well on the home front. And actually internally, especially the kinds of companies that we work with, they're scaling so quickly that actually for them, if everything was well, it would almost be odd for them to experience everything as well, because they're often so heavily leaning into their discomfort zone. They're tackling new markets, new terrains, new team members, there's so much novelty that it's outside their comfort zone. And so often that's psychologically it's hard, and and equally that pairing, you don't want to instill like, I don't know what's going on, or they don't want to project that lack of confidence. They want to be grounded and in control. And so having that space where we want to unearth the truth to then drive their performance. And sometimes you'll feel the scales tip when people are performing so heavily that things are really cracking at home or in relationships or in how they're giving feedback or how they're showing up with a team. You'll start to see the cracks when there's no space where they're not performing, they're actually just truthful. And so having that combination I found between truth seeking and performance, they're actually very complementary. And it's really important that you have contexts and spaces in your life where you can truth seek, and contexts and spaces where you can give it your all and you can like give a good show. Yeah,
because otherwise you're sort of locked into the LinkedIn version of yourself 24/7, aren't you? It's kind of like,
how dark is that?
Hashtag blessed. Yeah. Like, actually, joke is I drove on the way to the South Marathon. I drove past someone with a car which had hashtag blessed as on the top of their car as like a screen or like a windscreen wrap. Like, astonishing.
That's so jokes.
But I should always say, I was driving so I couldn't take a photo, but I wish I had. That'd be a great LinkedIn post in there. But I do think this LinkedIn version of yourself is exhausting to keep up. It's not true. And you can't make the best decisions when you're trying to protect that version.
That's it. 100%. And especially when you're dealing with much more nuanced, like the leadership is generally sitting in nuance, and there's generally not like a right or a wrong or a black and a white. There's especially when you're dealing with people dynamics and teams. And so being able to kind of wade through the nuance, then decide, okay, what am I anchoring into? How do I communicate that well? Is tough.
I always think that like it's such a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
Because the better you do, the better the founder does. Actually, you said the more actually you need a coach, because there's more new experience to go through. There's more new challenges. The more you're in your discomfort zone. But actually, that's probably mean the business is performing well. So the value becomes really clear. So actually, it's not something that is a 3-month, 6-month relationship. It could be like I've worked with clients for 4 years, 5 years, because that trust is there. You're a good space for them to talk stuff through. You know enough to challenge them. And also you start getting involved in so much else in their life, like sort of marriage decisions, sort of house buying decisions, like grief, all sorts of things. You get to see the true unvarnished nature of someone because you're showing it without judgment. And you often see a side people that their partners don't see, or because they have no need to impress you.
It's so true.
Which I thought sort of we get taught a lot of that, sort of holding your clients in unconditional positive regard.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lovely space to be held in. I think it's a real gift to actually experience that.
Yeah, it's so true. Because often in any other context of your life, people have an incentive structure that doesn't completely align with yours. And therefore, I think often people question, what's the intention behind saying this? And whereas, I often think about coaching as like your intention is to understand, like your intention is just for their good and their growth. For me, when I think about their good, it's, okay, how do I get to the heart of who this person is, what drives them, what their strengths are, what they see value in, what they see as a valuable use of their time and energy, what work they consider to be meaningful. How do we get them aligned with what they consider to be a great life? And equally, their growth is a combination of, to grow effectively, we need to be supported, but we also need to be challenged. And that delicate balance between support and challenge, I think in most other contexts of life, people can question the challenge. And in a coaching context, you can challenge generously and pretty brutally in a way that can be received, or truthfully. Maybe not brutally is the wrong word. Who knows?
I think sometimes. Yeah. I think I worked with someone for 2 years, and he said his favourite session with me was when I told him he was speaking bullshit, because he basically had this image in his head that he couldn't hire good people. He didn't have the right to hire good people. And it kept on coming back to this over the space of 3 months. That eventually I was like, you're talking nonsense. Like, you deserve, like, if you look at every other element of what you do, like, you're amazing at fundraising, you're amazing at selling your business. Why can't you be amazing at hiring good people?
Yeah.
They would love to work for you. And actually just that challenge, he was like,
yeah,
his next 2 people were amazing people because suddenly he reset the bar.
Yeah.
But you have to earn the right, I think, to have that type of conversation, because too early, people are like, well, you don't know my business, you don't know me.
Yeah.
It's so ingrained, that narrative, like, I don't deserve to have good people working in my business, that you need to have quite a lot of sort of credibility or capital in the bank to push past that point.
It's so true. And I think it's also quite interesting when you can start to get a sense of someone that you know what they're saying isn't true. So once you've had a few sessions, you can start to get a rhythm of, you get in tune with, okay, what they're speaking feels right. And then sometimes they'll share stories or experiences and you're like, something's just not adding up here. I feel like you're distracting our time and energy on things that aren't important. What's actually going on? What's actually behind that? What's actually important? What are you actually avoiding? Like, you don't need to perform for me. We need to focus on what's actually true here. And because especially when you're so used to performing as a human and every minute being like trying to create value, that you can forget that it's okay to talk about what's actually taking up most of your headspace at the moment, even if it feels really silly. And it could be like it could be giving feedback to someone. It could be something that's going on outside of work that's actually taking up all your headspace, draining your energy and distracting you from focusing on what's most important. And so I think that's also another part of the challenge, is often just getting people to tell the truth faster. And I think coaching is often a process of getting people to tell the truth faster. And it's a fun game once people feel like, oh, no, this is actually what's most important, and I've now got clarity on what's most important, and the energy that releases, then they can drive in other areas that maybe to the outside world seem like really sexy challenges or hard challenges. But often people they've come up against those challenges so many times that to them they eat them for breakfast. Like, there's no problem with fundraising, or there's no problem with like vision setting, or there's a crisis, or there's a big competitor. And sometimes that, like, for people that's like, let's go, that's so exciting. But then something to do with like a seemingly in their mind small problem with the team just takes up, like, they can't sleep over it and they're worrying about it. And so you got to, coming back to like what is coaching for, it is also coming back to whatever you find challenging right now and whatever you desire right now, and exploring both the aspiration, like the true aspirations and the true challenges, so that you can navigate towards where you want to be, honestly, as well.
Yeah, I think that's a big takeaway, isn't it? So it is, if you find the right coach, it is so flexible.
Yeah.
Like there should be some significant like ROI for your business on it. I mean, you should be really looking at 10xing your investment on something like business impact. Yeah. But just life impact and how you can use it does vary very much person to person.
100%.
Wow, it's clearly a topic close to both our hearts. We probably could have gone for another 15 minutes. But thanks for listening. It's been another great post bag, and we will see you next Monday for another one.
Amazing.
Hit subscribe and see you next week.